Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another episode of the GRCV Hoops podcast. My name is Gavin Cameron. Alongside me, as always, my good friend
Ricardo Vargas, and I'm very happy to be here, and we have a very special guest as well.
I'm Abram Washington.
And this is a guy that we went to high school with. He's a big basketball nut and Dallas Maverick. He's also a Dallas Mavericks fan, just for those of you that are wondering.
Go Mavs!
Not doing too well this year, but they do have a top 5 pick in the NBA lottery coming up next month. But jumping right into it today, we're going to go ahead and start off with the two series that are left: Western Conference, Eastern Conference Finals. The Golden State Warriors beat the Houston Rockets by 13 points despite James Harden's 42-point effort. Kevin Durant looked absolutely unstoppable. I believe he only missed 3 shots the entire night and ended up with 37 points. Rick, I just want to get your thoughts on, is there anything the Rockets can do differently? I know that D'Antoni was adamant about running that ISO basketball, and him and Chris Paul, or James Harden and Chris Paul respectively, had really good games. Chris Paul with a double-double, I think he had 23 and 10, but it just wasn't enough. So what can the Rockets do differently?
To be honest, I don't think they can do anything. Like, I know D'Antoni, he just wants to keep what they've been doing. They've been doing it all season, and he's not going to change it. I think they just got to try to give it their all and try to stop them, because they're going to have the offense, and like the other guys do have to step up as well. Of course, Eric Gordon, Trevor Reeves, and all of them, but they just have to play better defense, just trying to lock them up. But that's almost like impossible.
Yeah, they had PJ Tucker. I think was really the only one trying to play physical with Golden State, and I think that is the only way they're going to be able to get in their head, because, as you know, the rules today, Abram, I know you're an official. The rules today, they just play softer than they did, in the 90s, early 2000s, and I think that's really the only way to get up under a team's skin and really throw them off their rhythm. But, if you could just give me your thoughts on this series so far, and what you think the Houston Rockets can do to even rattle Golden State a little bit.
Yeah, you're right, Gavin. The game is changing. Back then, it was more physical. Nowadays, if you smack a guy or touch a guy on his stomach, you're going to get caught for a foul. But I don't like to criticize refs. I one day want to be an NBA official. But the Rockets, I don't know. You have to play perfect defense to stop Golden State. You have 3 lethal guys that can flat out score anywhere on the court, literally. And if one player is playing defense, it's going to be hard for him to cover 3 guys. And
right.
My thing is it's a team effort to stop a team that plays so well in the postseason. So the Rockets have to stop them. They can score too as well. Harden had 42 points,
right.
And Chris Paul had
23 and 10.
So that's 60 or so points. But the bench have to step up. If you don't get any bench work,
right,
your points really don't mean anything. It means something, but it's a team effort.
Right, and this is a team, the Golden State Warriors referring to, that, even last year when KD joined, we didn't think that anyone would be able to stop them. And they've dropped a game to the New Orleans Pelicans. They dropped a game to the San Antonio Spurs without Kawhi Leonard. How difficult can it be for the Rockets, who had the best record in the NBA, the best offense statistically we've ever seen? How hard is it going to be for them to not only win a game, but even make it competitive? Because it seemed after last night, Steph Curry was semi-limited on offense. Klay Thompson, he had a pretty good shooting night. Draymond Green was limited on offense, although he does do other things for that team. You had guys stepping up like Nick Young. We had Kevon Looney come in and grab rebounds. David West being the enforcer that he is. I don't see how you stop this team, and this is something that we've touched on periodically throughout the season on the show, is that, what can you do to slow down Golden State? And the Rockets' answer all season was, well, we're just going to put up more points than them. Well, what happens when you can't put up more points?
Right,
you need a plan B, and I just don't see, Coach D'Antoni saying we're not going to change anything. Well, Golden State's not going to change anything, and they're going to go and beat you again.
Yeah.
And I don't know what they can do.
Stop playing ISO ball. That will get you in trouble. down the stretch, because Golden State loves to pass the ball. I mean, yeah, you get teams where they ISO, but Golden State is a team. Fundamental. I mean,
they're a team.
A team.
I think they're like the San Antonio Spurs, but I mean the amount of threes that they can pour on you is.
I mean, they can just go on a run.
It seems
scary.
Yeah, it seems unstoppable.
They go on a quick run in a quarter, and that could be the game. To be honest, because coming back from all those threes that they hit, it's really tough. And I think the Rockets will take 1 or 2 games. They will find a way to just try to stop. I think so.
Win.
I think that they could. I think that they could get at least one game, and if
the Pelicans could get home,
yes, but
at Oracle.
No, it has to be game 2. I think if they lose game 2, they will get swept. I don't think that they'll be able to go to Golden State down 0-2 and be able to take a game from them. I think that they'll just be demoralized mentally, and they'll fall apart from there. I mean, we've seen this happen. Like the other series, real quick, just to touch on it. I mean, the Boston Celtics being undefeated at home in the playoffs. They beat the Cavs last night despite LeBron's 42-point triple-double. I mean, we knew that he would come back and have a great game after being limited to 15 points in game 1, which has been sort of interesting because LeBron has had terrible game 1s throughout the entire Eastern Conference playoffs. Round 1, semifinals, conference finals. He's not played well in game 1 whatsoever. Despite sweeping Toronto in round 2, he played terrible in game 1. So being down 0-2, I did see this statistic when I was watching Fox Sports. The Celtics are 37-0 when going up 2-0 anywhere in the semifinals or the conference finals. They've never lost. So history tells me that LeBron is done. And now that's out of the way, I mean, what can the Celtics do against the Golden State Warriors? Because I don't think the Rockets are going to come out of the West.
Well, you know what
I want to hear from the Celtics fan.
Like, I just think they're going to – I don't know exactly what they're going to do or how they're going to do it, but I know the Celtics will stop them.
How?
One way or another. Because we have defensive people, Abram. We got Jaylen Brown, Marcus Smart.
One of the best defensive players is on Golden State is Klay Thompson. He is one of the best defensive players.
Terry Rozier, he could –
Draymond Green.
It's going to be defense against defense, to be honest.
KD is one heck of a defender this season.
And then we're just going to beat them with with their athleticism.
I mean, the one thing that I can give the edge to the Celtics to is they do have youth. Okay, they're young players. I mean, you don't know what to expect from them. You can't expect anything from them, especially coming from where they have. You know, I mean, Jaylen Brown, I believe he was in the playoffs last year.
He was, yeah.
And then this year, stepping up for that team after Kyrie went down, being without Gordon Hayward the entire year. I think Al Horford. I think that people forget about Big Al being the anchor for that team.
He does so much stuff for that team,
and not just on the defensive end. I mean, really holding that team together, being a great locker room guy, being just an NBA vet that anyone would be happy to have in their locker room.
One of the best in the league.
He's the key if the Celtics make it out of the East.
And he will play. He will play up to his name because he can do some damage. Points, rebounds, assists.
Absolutely. I think Big Al, and no disrespect to Draymond Green because he's been an all-star, I believe, the past 3 seasons. Big Al was an all-star. He was an all-star reserve this season, getting in. I think he replaced Kevin Love, if I'm not mistaken. It was either him or DeMarcus Cousins. You know, they mixed up the all-star game this year, so it's hard to tell. But I know that he was a reserve. Well-deserved, too. Well-deserved for that team. Definitely the best defensive player on that Celtics team, probably the best player right now.
Yeah.
I mean, if unless you consider Jason Tatum to be their best player, because offensively, this kid, he is scoring at will, and to be able to do that as a rookie in the postseason is nothing short of phenomenal.
He's only 20 years old, just played 1 year in college. That's just crazy.
Right. And well, we do know that Duke players are known to come into the league and
be unstoppable.
Really be tremendous forces in the league. You know, I mean,
they say he might end up being one of the best Duke players to ever play.
And very well could be. Very well could be.
Better than Kyrie.
The one thing that I want to know is when the Celtics play the Warriors, if that's if it stays that way.
Oh, which it will.
You have the second best offense versus the best defense.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm not sure where the Celtics rank offensively, but I know without Kyrie Irving, I don't believe they're in the top 10. So can a team without a top 10 offense beat a team with a top 5 defense? That's what I want to know. Is it possible?
Well, I wouldn't know, but my thing is, so Curry, the point guard,
right?
Klay, the 2,
right?
3, Draymond, right?
Yeah, and then you'd have Kevin
KD,
Durant.
Who would be the fifth?
I believe they'd start Iguodala,
Iguodala.
and they would play Draymond at center.
Match those up with the Celtics starting five, and I'll answer that question. Please.
Okay, Terry Rozier, up and coming superstar at the 1, Marcus Smart at the 2, Jaylen Brown at the 3, and then it's tough because give me this: Jason Tatum at the 3, Morris at the 4, and Al Horford starting at center. Because Morris is a good defender.
Well, he did do his best against LeBron.
Yeah.
Very good, and he definitely did a number on Tristan Thompson last night in Game 2.
You're right.
That was that new meme that they got on Twitter. That had me. Oh my gosh, that was so funny.
Yeah,
My thing is for the Celtics, it will be tough to stop the fast-paced Golden State Warriors. It will be tough.
I'll be honest.
It will
with
be
you.
tough.
But the Celtics do like to slow it down, and we know that Golden State
And
I love that.
in a half court set, I don't want to say they're uncomfortable, but they're out of their comfort zone at least. I mean, we know that Steve Kerr likes to run that 10-second offense.
Mm-hmm.
So
Throw it up there, and go back down.
The Celtics, I'm just gonna be honest because even though I'm a Celtics fan and whatnot, I think they'll take 1 or 2 games. But if it ends up being the Warriors and the Celtics, I do think the Warriors are just gonna win because they just have too much firepower. I'll just be flat out honest.
If that happened, Warriors in 6, beating Boston Celtics on the home court.
That'd be rough.
Did the Western Conference win in the All-Star game? Who would have the home court advantage?
I don't think they implemented that this year. I think that's something that's being discussed.
Oh, okay.
But I know that Golden State did have a better record. I think they won 5 more games than the Celtics did, so they would have home court in the finals.
Well, Warriors in 6, beating y'all in
That'd be rough.
I think if as long as the Celtics stay undefeated at home, there's no reason for me to believe that they would lose a game at home, which would force it to go 7. And I think that if it does go 7, as crazy as it is to say, I think that it could go either way, because I don't think that you can count out the number 1 defense in the league. I understand that they're young, but anomalies happen every so often. This could be a blue moon season for them.
It could.
It could honestly be one of the most, if not the most surprising team in NBA history.
right.
Even just to make the finals. I mean, this is like LeBron's run in 2007 when he took that Cavs team there against the Spurs.
It's like Loyola.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
We just had that this year. I mean, with a Final Four as I believe they're a 13 seed.
I think so.
That's never happened before. So maybe this is the season for that. But I mean, as far as it goes, I do think that Jaylen Brown, great defender. Marcus Smart, great defender. I think that Jaylen Brown, because of what he was able to do to Ben Simmons and what I've seen him do against LeBron James, I think that he and also Marcus Morris would be able to maybe get into Klay Thompson, maybe get into Kevin Durant just a little bit, because we know you can stop KD from driving, but he can shoot over anybody in the league being 7 feet tall.
So tall.
So
We were just talking about that.
right. So it's for me. I really think it's just going to come. It's really going to come down to Golden State's role players. I think
and they're accustomed to be playing in the finals.
Are they?
Right.
We're talking about role players. The Celtics. I think the Celtics have the upper hand.
Yes, but it's the Golden State Warriors also have star power, because as of
experience in the
right
NBA
now,
finals.
it's Al Horford versus 4 All-Stars, and it's not looking good.
Come on, champ. Do not sleep on Terry Rozier.
Nobody's sleeping.
No,
Does he have experience in the NBA Finals? NBA Finals is like the national
in the
championship for
playoffs.
him.
He'll be ready.
The NBA Finals are a different level.
He'll be ready. It's another team.
How do you know he'll be ready? Are you his brother?
No.
Listen. As much as I agree with you, and I think experience does matter in the playoffs, and I think that that's any sport. Okay, but when it comes to a 7-game series and being able to adjust, and what I've seen Terry Rozier do in this playoffs, I mean, he's playing just as well as Kyrie Irving in this.
It wouldn't be a surprise.
series.
But what if it doesn't go to 7? It could go to State in 5, winning on their home court.
They very well could. I think it's all going to come down to
The first game of the series.
look. This is a team. They're both teams really. Their players believe in their coach.
Right.
And I think everyone here, and I know how Rick feels. I know how I feel. I'm not sure how you feel, but me and him both agree that I believe Brad Stevens is the best coach in the NBA right now.
Thoughts? Concerns?
I would just like to get your opinion on that.
Well, me and Rick had this discussion.
Let's fill it out, champ.
Honest answer.
Honest.
and y'all think he's the best coach.
Yes.
I think yes, better than Popovich. I
With
believe
what he's done in these playoffs.
I said this year. I said
year.
not
Overall?
not over a career. I just said this year. I think he's been the best
Oh
coach.
yeah, hands down. Yeah, Brad Stevens is one of the best. Hands down is the best coach this season
And not
because of what he done.
That's what we're talking about. No disrespect to Popovich. You can't.
he might be one of the best coaches of all time.
Of all
If
time.
not the
Yeah.
best, if not the best coach of all time.
You can't look past 5 titles. You can't look past 5 titles.
I'm just saying of all time of NBA or college or
NBA,
basketball period.
The NBA. The NBA.
I was about to say Coach K now. Or
No.
Dean Smith.
Give
We
me
don't.
Popovich over Coach K.
Stop it.
I don't know about that.
I'm
I think it's two different games. Two different games.
It's tough to compare.
But on back to Brad Stevens, yeah, this year he is the best coach that ever coached this season of what he did.
In this year and not from now on for a good
He's
amount
the
of years.
face of the Celtics.
I think it all depends. I think it all depends on what Popovich does in the offseason. I don't know if he's going to come back next year. I would imagine he would, but if he decides to hang him up, I mean, there's no question in my mind. I think it's. And let's not forget about Quinn Snyder of the Utah Jazz. I think he's done a phenomenal
Yeah, you
job
can't forget about him.
doing what he did with that team in the West, getting to the second round.
Impressive.
You know,
stealing a game.
stealing the game from Houston. Yeah, so I think that he deserves consideration. I think Dwayne Casey, although he did get fired, I'm still no. Listen. I'm still on the fence about it. I think that a change needed to be made. And I don't think that they were able to do that with the roster
But
that
not
they had.
like that. I just don't believe he was the coach of the year.
Why are you gonna fire that man?
2
like
days
that?
later
Yeah.
or whatever, he gets fired.
Yeah.
Yes, I get it that you get swept.
I don't think it was just getting swept. I think it was losing to LeBron for 3 straight years.
Well,
Yeah,
Something needed to change.
Well, you're right.
but then getting
look,
sweat like
but,
that's just
I mean,
crazy.
he would never got put in that situation if Indiana would have done their job.
This is true, but then again, I don't think Indiana should have taken them 7 games. I think
Indiana should have
I
taken
think
5.
that was an anomaly in itself. Okay, I think
That
the
was
Cavs,
crazy.
The Cavs, it should have been over in 5 or 6.
Yes.
But
sweet.
it was nothing short. It was nothing short of heroics of LeBron James that even propelled them through that series. I mean there's nothing you can do.
Nope.
And Victor Oladipo played fairly well. There was a
Yeah.
couple games where he was subpar, but he did play really well in that series overall.
Indiana,
Yeah.
watch out for them next season. Watch out for them.
If they get Dennis Schroeder.
And Dennis Schroeder being on the trade block, I mean that would be
That
something.
would, yeah.
Yeah,
Thoughts?
I don't have too much thought on that. He's a great player. I just hope I just hope he ends up in a good place.
Where?
I don't know yet.
Who was the other team? We said Indiana, and I believe we said
And the
Milwaukee.
Bucks.
Milwaukee.
Okay,
I'll
see,
be fine with either one.
the only thing I don't like about that is they already have Eric Bledsoe, and I don't
Eric Bledsoe just disappointed
Was
me.
it
I'm sorry.
Indiana?
No, Milwaukee.
Milwaukee, yeah.
Milwaukee, yeah,
He disappointed me. I'm sorry.
yeah, and he was, and not
Drew
just.
Bledsoe.
I think during the regular season he played fairly well, how we expected,
played
but in
it,
the
yeah.
playoffs, I mean,
can't do
Would he
that.
fit?
that's
At one of those programs, I mean, both of those teams took a team to 7 games. I mean, like where would he fit?
I think he'd fit better
Better.
with Milwaukee.
See, I disagree. Unless I don't think Schroeder or Bledsoe would be comfortable coming off the bench
Bledsoe they just got to
because they have Brogdon. So unless they were willing to give up Bledsoe, and
which they
I
should.
don't think Bledsoe is going to be happy in Atlanta because it would be Phoenix all over again. You know, so you don't want those kinds of problems because this is a guy that's in his prime. Not to say that Schroeder isn't in his prime or about to enter his prime.
Right.
He's still very young.
I
So-
just like Schroeder better than Bledsoe because he can. I just like his game.
If I'm Schroeder, I mean the Atlanta Hawks
German.
have the 3rd pick in the draft, and I know that I'm going to get a star to play alongside me. Why would I leave? I'm in the Eastern Conference, you know.
That's your best chance to try to get a championship.
Exactly
Try.
as of right now.
Yeah,
That
try.
is tough.
I mean, the Golden State Warriors they're going to be a force to be reckoned with for the next 3 or 4 years.
Yes.
Until everyone starts aging, that's really
It's
what
going
it
to
is.
go to State's league, practically.
Because unless
next year.
LeBron can repeat this, he's just going to keep declining.
The Celtics are winning the championship next year if they're
But
all
he's-
healthy.
He's
I think that they'll be favorites to win the East. I
Yes.
will say
Well,
unless
they'll win the championship.
LeBron goes to Philadelphia.
Philadelphia will win the
If
championship.
the Celtics go play against the Warriors this year and they take 1 or 2 games, next year the Boston Celtics will win the NBA championship without a doubt.
I mean, that's being optimistic. That's being very
Look what
optimistic.
they've done without their 2 best players.
Well,
No, and I understand that, but I'm talking about a big 3 of LeBron James, Ben Simmons, and Joel Embiid. with that cast of role players.
With shooters like Marco, a JJ,
Kyrie Irving, a second year,
Markel Fultz,
a second year Jason Tatum is a star.
I think
that's a big four.
He could be
right there.
Y'all shouldn't even be in this predicament if Philadelphia would have done their job the last round.
Well, and hey, Joel Embiid did his part.
Well, yes.
Joel Embiid did his part. He played out of his mind.
We'll have a big five. Kyrie, Hayward, Jason Tatum, Al Horford, big six. And Brad Stevens and then Jaylen Brown. That's a big six.
I think you would have to make an all-star game to be considered for.
Okay, no, that's a big five. Al Horford, Jason Tatum, Gordon Hayward, Kyrie, and Brad Stevens. That's a big five there.
I think Brad Stevens is the only one that you could consider a part of the big whatever number you want to put there.
Kyrie,
he's the only one.
Kyrie and Hayward.
No, no. I understand Kyrie would have been an all-star, or no, he was an all-star, but then he went out with the ankle surgery, right?
Yeah, and then Hayward would have been an all-star.
That's freak accidents like that you can't predict.
Exactly.
You know?
And then Jason Tatum, if he's that good this
because even if Kyrie sat out with the ankle surgery, if Gordon Hayward's playing right now,
we win the NBA championship.
I think this is I think it's a better argument for why the Celtics could win 1, 2, maybe 3 games
against Golden State.
Yes.
We were just saying that the Celtics have a chance of winning the NBA championship
next year.
We were talking about this year.
No, this year if it goes 7 games, if Brad Stevens can somehow get it into the minds of a Tatum, of a Brown, Smart, you guys can do this.
And we have Terry Rozier
for instance, if Golden State did what they did to Houston game 1, y'all gonna get swept.
No.
See, I disagree because Houston does not have a top 5 defense.
Well,
we're dealing with the best defense in the entire NBA. Right. That the majority held their opponents under 100 points a game.
But Golden State averages 100 or more points per
game. I believe they're around 114, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
But let me say this. The point differential is not the only thing that matters here. Okay, think about the last time they played. Golden State had not been held under 100 points. I believe the entire season, or since early November,
right?
And they held them, I believe, 96 or 98 points.
When they play again?
Who?
When do they play?
The Boston Celtics.
Yeah.
I believe was it be on Friday? Right?
Friday. Yep.
Because they get a 2-day break because they're going to Cleveland.
No, when did Boston and Golden State play?
They would play when their series are over with. I believe they maybe
didn't play this past season?
In a couple weeks. Oh no, their last game was in February.
February.
And the Celtics came out on top in that game. Although Kyrie did play, they came out on top and they beat them almost by double digits. I mean, handily.
Right.
And then you can't forget about Terry Rozier. People sleep on Terry Rozier. He is a
star.
star.
I'm not sleeping
But see, here's the thing: if Terry Rozier can play as well or better than Kyrie played against the Warriors, which from what we've seen is definitely possible. I'm not saying it's going to happen. It's possible.
He's more versatile than Kyrie Irving. He is.
Okay. I'm not knocking that.
And see,
but I just don't think Golden State has firepower. It's like supernatural firepower that comes out of nowhere, and they can just go on runs.
And we have
every quarter.
We have high pressure hoses.
So just put it out.
To put out the fire. Yeah, no, seriously, the defense.
Golden State is a wildfire team. It's bred.
We got firefighters.
Listen, this is what Abrams trying to say. You can play Golden State for 45 minutes as good as anybody in the league, but for 3 minutes they can score 21 points and you lose.
Like this, and y'all lose. The third quarter. When y'all play, if the Golden State Warriors and the Celtics play the third quarter, the first 5 minutes will determine the game.
Oh, absolutely. Honestly, that's probably the best point that you've made so far.
Okay.
Listen, seriously, no, because I had completely forgot about that. The third quarter, the Golden State Warriors are the best team in the NBA by far.
By far.
So unless you get a double-digit lead by halftime, you can kiss a win goodbye.
Yeah, I mean, kiss a win.
It's not going to
happen.
happen.
We're not Philadelphia. I mean, they're not Philadelphia. So I mean, Philadelphia was up 22, and y'all came back and won, right?
We were supposed to win against Cleveland. Look what we did. Look what we're doing.
Cleveland, LeBron has a bunch of bombs.
Listen. And no. People were not counting the Celtics out when they went up against the Cavs. They were just saying, historically speaking, LeBron James should win this series.
Yes.
But they should win
no one thought we could beat the Bucks.
Go to
no one thought we could win. No one thought we could beat Philly. We beat Philly.
Okay, look, I will give you that. Everyone did count you out because of what Philadelphia did to Miami.
Yeah.
That's why. Okay.
Yeah.
And I'm not like trying to put any disrespect on the Miami Heat because they're a solid team. But Joel Embiid destroyed Hassan Whiteside. His confidence is gone. Okay,
It's gone.
It's absolutely gone.
He needs to go back to high school.
Goran
basketball.
Dragic, listen. Goran Dragic versus Ben Simmons is like an 8th grader playing with a kindergartner. All right, it's not gonna work. Okay,
Even though he broke out with those 2 threes,
I mean
those points.
Wayne Ellington, great 3-point shooter, but who are you? Okay, I seriously. I mean no disrespect to him, but seriously, compared to Ben Simmons, Joel Embiid, who was Wayne Ellington? Okay,
He looked like,
it doesn't make sense. Josh Richardson was injured the entire year, hasn't looked like himself. Tyler Johnson, after getting his money, what happened to him?
Nothing.
So I don't know. I don't know what else.
Let's just have these series in, and then we'll talk about the finals.
And then I guess that's fair to say.
Yeah, that's fair to say. When's the series going to end? In a week and a
At
half?
least a week and a half, maybe 2 weeks. I think it all depends on when they end. Which honestly, I can't believe
I'll be back.
I can't believe I give Boston a better shot to beat the Warriors than I did the Houston Rockets, just because. I mean, if you're a one-trick pony,
It's the
listen,
defense.
Listen. It's a one-trick pony with Houston. You rain as many threes as possible, or you go isolation. You can stop either one of those things. If you haven't noticed, Golden State switches off of every single ball screen that Harden and Chris Paul set. There's no way around that unless you change the offense.
That's true.
D'Antoni's not going to come off of it.
He's going to be ISO for the next 2 games, 3 games or so.
Exactly.
Yeah, the Rockets. Yeah, they're not.
And even
And you want the Rockets to win.
I do, because I don't want to see. I don't want to face the Warriors.
But the Warriors has a shot to go to the NBA Finals for the next 4 years.
But next year we're winning the title. There's no
I
debate.
I did not say Golden State was winning the title. I just said
They
Golden
don't have
State
a
has
chance because
shot
we're winning it.
Making
okay.
it
See,
to the NBA.
here's another thing though. What if Paul George leaves? What if he goes and joins a team? You know, or what if he joins the Lakers with LeBron James? What if they have Brandon Ingram, Julius Randle, Lonzo Ball, Kyle Kuzma?
We're still winning.
What do you do then?
But that's in
That
the West,
can't,
though.
that can't happen. If
And
that
the Lakers
happened-
would be a 4 or 5 seed.
The Lakers have beaten the Golden State Warriors twice without any superstars.
Yeah, but I'm just saying.
If they add 2, LA is back. Showtime is back.
But I don't think that will happen.
You don't think they'll be able to sign 2 free agents?
No. If they do,
What if they trade for Kawhi Leonard?
I'm gonna be sick to my stomach.
What if they
we
trade
get
for Kawhi Leonard?
If we get Kawhi Leonard,
Does he fit?
With what cap
he
space?
fits.
Right,
He
that's what I'm
fits.
With what cap
Where?
space?
We trade Gordon Hayward.
You just said
Gordon Hayward's making more money. Why would San Antonio want that contract on his book? He has another 4 years left.
There's a shot we get somebody else.
But you just said you would.
Rick.
Rick, what do you want? You want Gordon Hayward on your team? Or you want Kawhi Leonard?
I just
because
want
you just said, I'm pretty
championships, man.
sure.
You have enough titles.
Yes, enough. You
You have enough
1,000.
titles.
We
18, right?
do not sleep on the Celtics making a big move in the offseason, and then we can get somebody else
But
and
why
then
would
win
you
the
trade
championship.
Gordon Hayward?
Because Jason
like
You
Gordon
Tatum.
haven't even
Hayward.
seen him play. We saw him play for 5 minutes in the first game of the season.
But you said, I remember you said before Gordon Hayward even got traded. I'm pretty sure you said, oh, Gordon Hayward and Brad Stevens, oh, yeah, back. Oh, they're best buds. I mean, like,
they're
Butler days.
Butler buddies.
Butler buddies.
Butler buddies.
Who? And you said, oh, who wouldn't want to play with their former coach or something like that?
And now you want to trade him off for a guy that's unhappy and has a healthy quad and wants to sit out?
Come on, man.
Because I want Jason Tatum to develop into the superstar that he's going to
But
be.
you were focusing on Gordon Hayward before Jason
What-
Tatum came in the picture.
Why can't listen?
That's like you having 10 different wives.
Listen, why can't Jason Tatum play the 4? Why can't he play the 4? Let Hayward play the 3. What's wrong with that? Let Kyrie and Terry Rozier play. Let Jaylen Brown play the 2. I don't care.
But not trade Gordon.
Don't trade Gordon Hayward. He's an all-star.
Look, if Gordon Hayward would have never got injured,
We'd be talking about
The Celtics would have the 1 seed in the East.
would definitely have the 1 seed and definitely would sweep LeBron.
I already think they're going to sweep LeBron.
Well, obviously, but I'm just saying I'm not trading Gordon Hayward.
Okay, we'll see what happens this offseason. I just know we're going to make moves, and it's going to be nice.
Big
Okay.
moves or small moves?
Big
Because
moves.
big moves, do you have any cap space? Because you just signed Gordon Hayward 5 years, right? For
Over $100 million.
over $100 million. Kyrie, well,
He has another year left on his contract.
2 years total, practically. I don't know how much he's getting. What's Jason
I
Tatum?
mean, Al Horford signed the big contract as well.
Right.
$100 million.
Come on, man.
We'll
That's
see what
$200
happens.
million that you just lost to 2 players.
We'll see what happens.
All right. Listen, with that said, can we agree here? Do we believe the Celtics will sweep the Cavs?
Yes.
If not, in 5.
Yes.
Yep, I believe they.
At most in 5.
Yeah.
So Golden State Warriors, do we predict a sweep
if
or 5?
If Houston loses
In
tonight,
5.
It's a
they're
sweep.
going to get swept.
They're not
because
gonna get
they're
swept.
not.
They're
They're
not gonna
not
get swept.
going to have a chance at Oracle Arena.
So this game too is pretty much the deciding factor.
For Houston.
No. There is still a shot for them to win a game. Even if they
I
win
said that. I said
lose.
if they lose tonight.
So if the Rockets go down 0-2, you expect them to get one game at Golden State?
Oracle?
Yes.
Oracle has the loudest fan base in the NBA. Or by far the best one, though, number one.
Okay. They can still win.
Well, you have to think how many of those are bandwagon fans, but I mean...
Steph
They don't
and
worry
KD,
about that. They don't worry about
KD
that.
and Clay play unstoppable at home. Draymond, too.
Hey, I think it's going to be interesting because we got game 2 tonight, and we got Celtics Cavs on Friday.
Yeah, it's going to be fun.
It's going to be a fun weekend. I can tell you that right now. I'll be watching some NBA basketball.
Me too.
But we need to move on to the most interesting thing that happened yesterday. The NBA draft lottery was set, and it was. I tell you what, I actually watched it live last night, and it was actually pretty crazy the turn of events because the Sacramento Kings and the Atlanta Hawks were able to propel themselves into the top 3 picks, and the Memphis Grizzlies and Dallas Mavericks missed out. They moved down to 4 and 5. So the order, as it stands, what is today? The 17th or the 18th? I forget what today is.
16th.
The 16th of May,
16, oh, wow.
2018. The Phoenix Suns have the first pick, followed by the Sacramento Kings, Atlanta Hawks, Memphis Grizzlies, Dallas Mavericks, Orlando Magic, Chicago Bulls, Cleveland Cavaliers via the Brooklyn Nets, then the New York Knicks, and then the Philadelphia 76ers via the Los Angeles Lakers. That rounds out the top 10. With this draft order, guys, I really just want to focus on the top 5 for now.
Okay, yeah.
With the Suns picking first overall, and this crop of talent is just as good as the draft from a few years ago with Karl Anthony Towns, Kristaps Porzingis,
And last year, shoot.
and last year's for sure. Where do you guys expect people to land? Who do you think the Suns should take first overall with their team the way it is right now? Abram, let's get your opinion here.
The European, what's his name?
Luka Doncic.
I don't know how to say that man's name.
Luka.
I think he will round out to be the first pick in the NBA draft. I don't know why he wouldn't go top 1.
Top 1.
The number 1. So that's my.
This is something that we had discussed. A few weeks ago with guys declaring for the draft. We talk about DeAndre Ayton, Marvin Bagley the third, and then Michael Porter Jr., Mohamed Bamba. Luka Doncic for sure. These are guys. All of these guys could be all-star potential players.
Oh, no, easy.
And this is just the top 5. But Rick, we have Luka Doncic. Do you think the Suns should take somebody else first overall?
I would like for him to go number 1 overall, but I think there's a possibility Ayton can go number 1 too.
Absolutely.
He played in Arizona. The Suns, they need a big man, but they really can't go wrong with either one.
So you think that you would rather have a big man to pair up with Elfrid Payton and Devin Booker?
My thing is, you just got to look. If you have a stacked big man, I'm not trying to get another big man on my squad.
Right.
I would get a point guard.
But they do need a big
they do have
right.
Marquise Chris and Dragon Bender. These guys not in your future plans.
Bender, I forgot about that, man.
Right,
Yeah.
so you
Chris,
guys.
he's a power forward.
So you could play Chris at the 4, and then you'd bring in Ayton at the 5 and run with that.
Yeah.
You have to look of where you're at. Like the Dallas Mavericks. If we have a solid point guard, we have a solid 2. We have a.
I think you guys.
shaky 3.
I think
4.
your guys' backcourt of Dennis Smith Jr. and Yogi Ferrell
Right.
is. That's a duo for the future.
Right.
Especially offensively.
Oh yeah, we're gonna be deadly.
The defense. Actually, Dennis Smith Jr. just plays solid defense. And
I like it.
I still think he should have won the dunk contest. But
Is Grayson Allen, did he declare for the draft?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
and no disrespect to Donovan Mitchell, but I think that had Dennis Smith Jr. won over Larry Nance, I feel like he had some other tricks in the bag that he didn't get to show us.
I'm not no dunk contest specialist or voter, so I can't tell you why he didn't win. I was hoping, but everyone has their opinions and.
Okay, so if
Everybody has those
can we agree that it's probably Luka Doncic or DeAndre Ayton going first overall?
Yes.
With that said, do you think the Sacramento Kings take the lesser of the 2 best players, or do you think that they maybe take a chance on Marvin Bagley or a Mohamed Bamba, maybe a Colin Sexton, anything like that?
It's tough. It's tough because the Kings have made so many bad
Moves.
choices.
But I really like the way that they're going now with all their young players. I think
yeah.
they finally figured it out.
De'Aaron Fox was a great pick last year.
Absolutely.
And I think, I don't know. It's really tough because I do like Marvin Bagley a lot. I like him a lot.
I do.
I think he can be a very dominant player in the league, but you really can't go wrong with Ayton or Doncic if he goes second.
I believe that the Suns will take Luka Doncic just because their head coach that they signed a couple weeks ago, or it might have been 2.5 weeks ago, Igor Kokoskov from the EuroLeague. He was an assistant coach for the Utah Jazz this past season. He was a coach for Luka Doncic in the EuroLeague when he played for Real Madrid, and I believe he's been in the league for 2 or 3 seasons now. He came in when he was He was signed when he was 13, didn't play until he was 16. So I think just for that case alone, he could try to influence the draft and influence the front office to say, I need this kid. He's great. He's an all-around talent. But like you said, I wouldn't be surprised if they did go for a big man. That's probably what they need, unless they can try to sign one in free agency. I know it's not the best crop of free agents, especially after last year of the crazy free agent frenzy that we had from the year before.
Craziest offseason.
Crazy.
Ever.
But unless they can work up a trade, maybe, I'm not sure. I do think that they'll take one of those two players. Now, moving on to Sacramento, like I said, they'll probably take one or the other. They're probably hoping the Suns take Ayton just so they can get another backcourt mate to pair along with De'Aaron Fox. Because Willie Cauley-Stein, solid piece. Labissiere got better this year than he was last year.
He was a steal for them, honestly. And
So-
Harry Giles, you can't forget about
And
him.
he'll be coming back off that ACL this upcoming year. So
You never know.
They have their power forward and they have a 2-center rotation that they can work with now.
Imagine that Harry Giles was ranked higher than Jason Tatum in high school.
Yeah. Well, and we didn't get to see Giles play.
Never, yeah.
So we don't know what his potential is right now.
He was a
But-
projected number 1 pick, but then the injury.
Now this brings us to pick number 3, which could get very interesting because the Hawks, like we said, they're planning on trading Dennis Schroeder.
Yeah.
So does that mean that they look for a point guard? Because they have Taurean Prince at the small forward. They have John Collins at power forward center. So they have some really nice pieces. But do you go for a point guard or do you look for a twin tower to pair along with Collins, being that you have a Bagley or a Bamba available?
I'm going with a point guard if Dennis Schroeder leaves, right?
Which I think he will. It's almost certain he
Yeah.
does.
If he leaves, I'm going with the point guard. But if he doesn't, I'm going with a Bagley or what position does Wendell Carter?
He's a center as well.
Yeah, Wendell or another player. I mean, one of those two. So, yeah, I'm going with them.
I'm going with a bold statement right here.
Okay.
Colin Sexton.
Colin Sexton to the Hawks. If Schroeder's gone.
If Schroeder's gone.
See,
I think he has the potential to be an all-star.
Right. No, for me, I think he does have that swagger to him of, I am the best, I can be the best. And I think you need that kind of Mamba mentality, if you will, in the NBA.
True leader in the NBA.
But I would like it if Schroeder would stay.
Yeah.
And if you draft Sexton, then you could have a backcourt of Sexton and Schroeder. Because Schroeder is a decent shooter. Sexton's more of a playmaker, more of a slasher.
Yeah.
And I would like those two next to each other, along with John Collins, up-and-coming star big man.
They're going to be nice.
That'd be a big 3.
He had a great season. Had him on my fantasy team. He was a great addition.
That was nice.
And then Taurean Prince.
I forget about him.
And then don't forget about Kent Bazemore. He's a solid role player for that team. He'll probably be a Hawk for the rest of his career.
Yeah.
As he should.
I know he signed up for at least another 3 years.
As
So
he should. Good
probably
job.
making a little bit too much money, but
It is what it is with those NBA
Aren't they
contracts.
all making a little bit?
But now this
money?
is the question I have. The Memphis Grizzlies, you have Mark Gasol and Mike Conley under contract, injury ridden for the past couple seasons. What do you do with this pick if you have big men off the board? I know Mohamed Bamba is probably not your first choice. Wendell Carter Jr. is probably not your first choice. But do you waste a pick use a pick, I should say, on a Colin Sexton? Do you use a pick on maybe a Trae Young if they want to take the risk?
I would take the risk right there and get Michael Porter Jr.
Finally get a small forward to.
So yeah, because he could end up being the best player in this draft.
He could be. He could be.
He could.
And then me being the Memphis
What if he's
Grizzlies.
not? That'll fall back on whenever the draft date
But
comes upon.
that's a risk I'm willing to take.
I think I'm going to agree with Rick on this one, only because the Grizzlies are in a position to where, Gasol's probably going to leave.
Yeah.
That's just my guess. I don't think he wants to be there anymore. He's 36. He needs to get out of there. Or 35, excuse me. Conley, as much as I like him, he's getting paid way too much money. He's never going to be an all-star in the West. He needs to...
Which is sad.
Which, yeah,
Because he is
it
a
is.
solid
It is.
player.
I think that he'll be in Memphis because they're not going to be able to trade away that contract. So if they take this risk, there's always next year because they'll probably end up getting another top 5 pick. So I think Michael Porter Jr. would be fine. I would be interested in maybe taking Jackson Jr. from Michigan State. Perhaps. I think he's a well-rounded player. I just really don't see where you go wrong with this, though.
Yeah, no.
You know, I think Memphis is in a good spot. I think one of the worst spots that happened last night was Memphis and Dallas both fell out of the top 3. And I want to get your opinion, being a Dallas fan. What do you do at the 5th spot if you have 4-star players go ahead of you?
What if you don't?
Well, that's the thing. I mean, maybe like the Grizzlies take a risk on Michael Porter Jr. Then you're left with a Jackson Jr. Maybe you get a big man to replace Noel that's going to be leaving. Dirk might retire. Do you go after Muhammad Bamba? Do you go after Wendell Carter Jr.? You know, what would be the best plan for Dallas when you already have your young backcourt? So
They have Jerry Jackson, but
Jackson Jr. from Michigan State.
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't know what Rick Carlisle and the front office will do. We just have to. My thing is just wait and see what the first 4 teams do ahead of us. If they don't pick a Wendell Carter, we should get him. We should snag him. If they don't get a or the Kelta Bates Diop guy.
he went to Bloomington. He went to high school in Bloomington.
But I mean, you never know. I mean, I don't know. I'm not in the front office.
I mean, just say somebody.
Really?
If you were the executive
NBA
making this decision, if you were there, because that sounded like an executive answer. That's what it was, just beating around the bush. If you had to make a decision, you know, you get 5 minutes to make the pick.
Wendell Carter.
Who are you taking? Wendell Carter Jr.
Okay.
Yeah, if he doesn't go top 4.
And he very well could be there because I don't see.
I don't see the Suns.
Or if Atlanta takes Colin Sexton, I hope that they take Marvin Bagley. That's who I hope they would
that'd
take.
be a good fit
Because if Marvin Bagley falls to Memphis, I believe they'll take him. I don't know if they'll take Porter Jr. Just because like you said, he's not a for sure thing. We didn't see enough of him at Missouri, although he could very well go. I mean, it's all about who's willing to take that risk.
Yeah, that's the only thing.
So,
I mean, and the Mavericks are in a rebuilding process. So, I mean, we won't win another championship for the next 25 years. It seems like.
So,
to be honest with you.
I think with that, I mean, really, I believe after the first 2 picks, anything is really safe for the next 3, maybe 4.
Yeah, and that's good. That's really good.
Because, I mean, I remember when the Heat got Bam Adebayo at number 10. I mean, they didn't think he would be there.
Right.
So, and he's been a great backup and even started a handful of games when Whiteside was out this year.
I'll start him over Whiteside next season.
Yeah, Whiteside's soft.
I would. Yes, he got very soft this season, and he had a great couple years.
Yeah.
Led the NBA in blocks last year.
Solid,
You know?
But I like his motor.
Man, soft. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
So and if that is the case, I don't think you can really go wrong if you're Dallas, even Orlando, Chicago. You know,
What does Chicago need? I mean, it seems like they have a
That's
high school basketball team.
Ideally, I believe Chicago needs a 3. I think they need a solid 3, and that's where I think Michael Porter Jr. comes into play.
If he's there.
If he can slip to Chicago, if other teams don't want to take that risk on him, and they end up drafting Bamba, if they end up drafting Jackson Jr.,
Trey Young even.
If Chicago can get, because they have Chris Dunn and Zach LaVine. Then they have Marketing, and I believe Robin Lopez is still there for another season.
Yeah.
I believe they'll look to trade him. Then they have Bobby Portis off the bench. So if you can get a solid 3, which I think Michael Porter Jr. can be, even great, pair him up with Marketing, a backcourt of Chris Dunn and Zach LaVine, I think Chicago's looking up.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Because I think Michael Porter, if he could go to Chicago, that would be amazing.
Because being as athletic as he is, him and Zach LaVine next to each other,
A force to be reckoned with.
Porter can be
Absolutely.
like a KD type of player.
Oh yeah.
it very well could be. Just not
'Cause of his
obviously
size.
as great
Yeah,
as
not
Kevin
obviously.
Durant, but
But just because of his size.
absolutely.
Undefeated in his last high school season.
Now this is where I think it gets really interesting is Cleveland at 8. What do you do if you're the Cavs? You know,
Well, what
and
do they need?
you're unsure of LeBron staying. I mean, is there anyone that they could draft right now that's NBA ready enough that could convince the King to stay in Cleveland?
Yeah, this is a tough one. Very tough one.
I mean, we
I
know
don't
that
have
they
the
need
answer.
backcourt players. We know that, and they really need big. Really, they need anything they can get. But if you had to address the backcourt or the front court, would you get a big man or would you draft a guy like
I need. I don't know.
Because I think this is where Colin Sexton would fit in perfectly, especially if like a LeBron James is. If you're trying to convince him to stay, you have a guy that's energetic, can contribute right away. I mean, maybe even this is a pick that you could trade off. If Cleveland is really unsure about what their future holds, maybe you get a for sure thing right now. Maybe not a star. Maybe you could package this pick with a star player on draft night. Have someone move up in case Michael Porter Jr. slips in the draft, or if there's anyone that they want to take a risk on, a different team that you want to take a risk on, that you can trade that pick off. I mean, I think this is a really interesting scenario for Cleveland right now.
Yeah, it definitely is. I honestly don't know what. It all depends on what happens after these playoffs. Then they could really see what LeBron's going to do.
Well, it looks like they're going to go home after this series, and if that's the case, I mean, if you go out in the conference finals, is adding a rookie enough?
No.
Then I think that they keep the pick.
Yeah, they should keep the pick, and hopefully they can get somebody that's worthwhile at that number 8. Because
if LeBron leaves, they're going to be the 18th, the 16th team in the Eastern Conference.
I don't know about all that.
They're going to be horrible.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm just not sure what they do with it, because I mean, LeBron's going to leave. You still have Kevin Love. You still have Tristan Thompson. You have those Laker role players under contract
in the Eastern Conference.
I think to make the playoffs.
What if Kevin Love becomes the player that he once was?
What if he doesn't?
I don't think it will, just because he's getting up there in age. He's over 30. He's going to be 31.
I mean, he can't shoot like that. I mean, he can shoot, but not like back then.
And I really just think the injury is piling up on him. He's not as athletic as he was. Right. He can't move like he did. His game has changed. He's more of a 3-point spot-up shooter now than a rebounder, a box-out guy, back-to-the-basket guy.
Right. He gets injured a lot.
But I do think if LeBron leaves, that the Cavs are still a playoff team. I think they have enough guys to where if you added a solid rookie, you could still end up getting the 6th, 7th seed in the Eastern Conference. Yeah. I don't see why not. I don't think they're as bad as when they left him the first time, because that team that he had was garbage.
Yeah,
utter garbage.
This team does have pieces. Jordan Clarkson.
They have an all-star. Kevin Love's an all-star.
But is that enough?
I think
in the Eastern Conference.
I think it's enough to make it.
What if they got a Donovan Mitchell?
Philadelphia. The Milwaukee Bucks, Boston Celtics. Who else is in the East?
The Toronto Raptors.
Yeah, well, they'd be better than the Raptors.
Hey, now, hey, we are the best regular season team out there. All right, let's get one thing straight. We don't talk about the playoffs. We don't talk about the playoffs.
Got swept.
Listen,
on your home court.
Listen, I know what happened.
It's all good, man. But yeah, I mean. The Cleveland Cavaliers.
How about you can talk to me when your team makes the playoffs, all right?
Have y'all won a championship? I got you there.
Wow, man, that hurt. That cuts deep. That cuts real deep.
I got you there, though.
Hey, Vince Carter brought us a dunk title. How about that? That counts for something.
But Dirk brought us home a championship.
In
2011. Against LeBron.
Hold on a second. Hold on a second.
3 years in a row.
Hold on a second. Remember that season that Dirk won MVP? Didn't you guys did you guys lose in 5 to an 8 seed? Didn't you guys lose in 5 to an 8 seed? Steven Jackson, Baron Davis.
Well.
Huh?
You shut me up,
Josh Richardson.
You shut me up, man.
I'm just saying.
We haven't got swept against LeBron.
I'm just saying. You got beat by a team whose second best player was Stack. Okay, and no disrespect to Stack, but he was like the 8th best player on the Spurs team when they won the title. I'm just saying.
You're right.
I can't remember that guy's name. Yeah, that trash center that put Dirk on a poster. He couldn't shoot free throws. Shot 40%. I can't. Not Abrinas. That's the guy from the Thunder. I can't think of his name.
Man,
he was. Man. Oh man, he was terrible. He was absolutely terrible. No, I can't argue with that. LeBron kicked us in the mouth. And hey, what can you do?
No, but yeah, what they get a Colin Sexton? He becomes a Donovan Mitchell when they go to the playoffs.
Who, the Cavs?
Yeah.
What do the New York Knicks do in this situation?
They just hired a new coach, right? David
Fisdale.
David Fisdale,
which I thought was a great hiring.
It was,
because him in Memphis, I thought he did a phenomenal job.
He really did. I like him.
Yeah,
he probably knows what he's doing. Porzingis is the face of New York, right?
Yeah, they got him, Tim Hardaway Jr., Frank
Ntilikina.
Where are they at this year? I didn't follow them.
They did trade for Emmanuel Mudiay. So they have a backcourt there now.
Don't they have Trey Burke?
Yeah, and they have Trey Burke.
Who do they
Michael
need?
Beasley.
Who would they need? Who they get?
Really, I think anyone that's not at the power forward position. I mean, really, because you could still grow Frank. I mean, you can trade off Moutier if he's not working out.
Yeah.
Jarrett Jack, I think it was on a 1-year deal, so I don't think he's coming back. Mm-hmm. And then Trey Burke, I think he could be a. I think if you wanted him to play point guard, I don't know. You could probably draft a 2. You need a 2 or a 3, or maybe a 5.
They can't go wrong with who they picked. Honestly,
not really. I think really they go with best available player. I think that's what they need to do, and I really don't know who that would be in that situation. I mean, going that deep, I've really only paid attention to maybe the top 7, 8 guys, just because I mean that's really what counts until you get a sleeper like Donovan Mitchell, or you get a sleeper like who was Devin Booker taking 14th pick.
And
so
it's tough to predict who's going to be a steal.
Right, and it is. But I think one of the more interesting ones is Philly is already a young team, and they have the 10th pick. So if they can draft another stud to go along with, if they go and sign LeBron James, you have Markel Fultz off the bench, J.J. Redick, Marco Bellinelli, Urson Ilyasova, and then another rookie.
That'd be solid.
Justin Anderson. I mean,
look where they finished this year. I mean, second round.
You can't forget about Amir Johnson either.
Right.
For the defense. I mean, he's there as well. So, and I expect J.J. Redick, honestly, because of where they got to, I expect him to re-sign for less money.
Oh, yeah.
Because he did sign a 1-year, $17 million deal, which I thought was way too much. Way too much money for J.J. Actually, no, I think it was $20 million, way too much for J.J. Redick. But if he can re-sign for $4 or $5 million, then they would have room for LeBron James. Not to mention, if you bring in a rookie, his rookie contract, you can go over the cap like that. So, I mean, I'm not –
you never know.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure. It's definitely going to be interesting.
Philadelphia is going to be one of the faces in the Eastern Conference.
They're on the rise, that's for sure. And real quick, I want to touch on the Clippers have the 12th and 13th pick in the draft. Now, do they use these picks to try and rebuild, or do they trade these picks off to try and get a star player?
It all depends who's still on the board. If I don't see someone that's worth it, I would just trade those picks.
What do you think, Abram?
I would rebuild.
You'd rebuild? I mean, you still have DeAndre Jordan.
It's hard trying to get a superstar to the Clippers.
But right. I still think they could ship him off for somebody.
But you never know.
Because those are 2 solid picks.
Right.
You do have Lou Williams.
Yeah.
You do have Tobias Harris. Now, if you could package DeAndre Jordan with these 2 picks for an all-star, I think that you got something good going on because they still won 40 games.
Yeah.
They won 40 games this year.
For DeMarcus Cousins.
And, DeMarcus Cousins is a free agent this year.
Yeah.
So we'll have to see where he decides to go and what teams are willing to take a risk on him after coming back off of his Achilles tear.
Right, yeah.
So
anything's possible.
I mean, I really hope he goes back to New Orleans. They needed him in that second round.
I would like him. Of course, I would love him to go back, but I don't think he'll go back. Honestly,
I think it's all going to depend on everyone else. I think, New Orleans can pay him the most money.
Yeah.
So if it's about the dollars, I think that's where he'll stay. Yeah. But I would like to see him maybe go to Los Angeles, maybe with a Paul George, maybe with a Kawhi Leonard, maybe with a LeBron James.
I just don't want anybody to go to L.A.
Really? What? See, what's
really?
your? Oh, well, he's a Celtics fan. He doesn't. He doesn't want to see the Lakers succeed.
I just don't want to see nobody out there.
But you want to see him in that green and white, don't you?
It's beautiful, like you wanted KD over there, but he went to Golden State.
And I tell you, I thought that's where he was going to go. Like the day before he announced it, I thought that's where he was going.
Same here. I was excited. I was about to just blow that.
Yeah,
group
but
down.
you're heartbroken when he signed that contract to Golden State, right?
I couldn't believe it.
I wasn't surprised.
I think it's going to be really interesting. Does Paul George stay in Oklahoma City for another year?
No.
Does he sign for 1 year?
You think so?
And wait, but does he wait 1 year and wait for Kyrie Irving and Klay Thompson and a bunch of free agents next year that are going to be free agents?
You think Klay is leaving though?
I don't think he will. Would he go somewhere and be the number 1 guy after he wins, 2 or 3, another ring, and then he'll have 3? Does he say, no, I don't want anymore. I want to go do my own thing? I mean, I don't know.
I think he's just chasing rings.
I think it's a Kyrie Irving situation where I've been to the finals twice. I want a ring. I want to go have my team now.
I don't think he's that type of guy. I don't
think he is either.
Yeah, he loves his role.
I believe.
Like we've said this, he's the best role player any team could have.
I believe he's going to stay. I almost said a Celtic, a Warrior for the next 5 or so years.
I think he'll be a Warrior for life.
For life.
Yeah,
I think Steph will be a Warrior for life. Now, this is what I think is interesting. I think Kevin Durant might leave again. Not this summer or next summer, but I think that he will leave again.
He's a free agent next year or this year?
I think it's this year. I can't remember. I can't remember if it's a player option this year or if he's a free agent.
If he doesn't sign what he wants, he's going to leave, I think. Unless they work it out. If they work it out,
I think he'll win maybe 1 or 2 more rings in Golden State, but then I think he'll want to play. Honestly, I think he'll end up in Washington. I think he'll play for the Wizards.
I would like to see that.
That's another place where I thought that he would go. I thought Boston and DC would be the top 2 places on his board to go. And then he went to the Warriors. I couldn't believe it.
BS.
I couldn't believe it. But seriously, I would love that trio of Bradley Beal, John Wall, Kevin Durant.
What if they leave? Are they going to stay in Washington forever?
I think John Wall and Bradley Beal, I think that they're on the verge of being split up. I think that the organization will trade one of them. And if it was me, as much as I love John Wall, I'm trading Wall.
Where?
Because
Really?
when it was just Bradley Beal, the Wizards were fine. So if you're just as good with John Wall playing than you are without him playing, and I thought that they would be a lot better than they were. If you're even just a little better with John Wall, why pay all that money when you can get better players? Maybe a better center because Gortat's getting up there in age. Maybe a better power forward because you have Otto Porter Jr., who's a great number 2. Right. He's a great number 2. So I think maybe they get rid of John Wall's contract, trade him off, use that cap space on somebody else.
No, that's a valid point. Point.
You never know. Whatever happens this summer, I mean, it depends on what happens this summer.
I think Western Conference All-Stars are going to look at the East like it's wide open. They're going to see LeBron James reaching for that cane, and they're going to want to come over. So, I mean, that would just be my guess.
My question is LeBron James done winning an NBA championship?
No. He
could go to the Celtics.
His window is open until he retires. I mean, this is another Kareem situation. Until he retires, he has every year is a chance for him to win a ring.
But my thing is, what if some of the Western guys go over to the Eastern Conference, like a KD?
I think that helps him out.
Boston over there. If Boston gets KD, LeBron is done.
Well, you have to think. What if
I'm sorry.
Seriously, think about this. What if the impossible happens and the Celtics beat the Warriors? Does Kevin Durant up in and leave and go to Boston?
That would be. I wouldn't want him. If that happened, I wouldn't want him.
But you're like, you wanted KD.
Well, I wanted
That's
KD.
your dream. That's your dream.
No, but not in this situation.
That's like saying when you guys beat the Cavaliers and LeBron James, what if he wanted to go to Boston, reunite with Kyrie Irving?
That's different.
How is that different?
Because in one situation we're winning an NBA championship, the other one's just the Eastern Conference Finals.
But I guess
I don't get it.
I'm not following that though. I mean that's the Eastern Conference title.
If we beat the Celtics, if we beat the Warriors and KD goes, I would just not be happy because he's just jumping on just.
How is he jumping on?
Hey, if you can't beat him, join him. If you can't beat him, join him.
He's not jumping on.
Like that.
He just saw the contract and he went and grabbed it. That's why he's
that's just like all right.
Look, as much as we criticize Kevin Durant, he put himself in the best situation for him to succeed.
Right.
That's like you're at a science fair. You're not really feeling your partner in the project you're doing, and then you go to this other team that had a great science project, and you just like join up.
I mean, that's an interesting example, but
would you do that? No.
Yes, terrible. If my team is horrible. Like, okay, see, he had
a good team. He had a great team.
0 to none chance of winning an NBA title.
But that's
except
on him.
that one year.
They were up 3-1 on the Golden State Warriors.
I'm saying against LeBron in 2012, right?
They were up 3-1 on the Golden State Warriors in 2016. 3-1 in the Western Conference Finals.
How do you
lose? They choked it away.
And the Warriors was up 3-1 to LeBron, and that was rigged.
And they choked it away.
Come on now.
Draymond Green didn't play.
Draymond Green got ejected 2 games for no apparent reason. I'm sorry.
One. Game 5. That was it. Only Game 5. And that's because he went up and punched the king in the cojones. You can't do that.
I would have done that.
You can't do that. And look, here's the thing. I understand that LeBron James is the greatest player in the world. But I don't like seeing him every single year. That's why I like change in the NBA.
I understand.
I didn't want to see him go to the NBA Finals for an 8th straight year.
What is he? 2-6?
3-5.
3-5.
He's 3-5 right now.
He should be 2-6.
He should be because Ray Allen bailed him out.
Yeah, and
bailed him out.
And when they won in 2016, right?
Yep, that was the miraculous comeback
of 3-1.
And that, you know what? He should be 1-7, but you know what? A ring is a ring. A ring is a ring. Okay.
What? Oh yeah, he wanted the Heat.
Yeah, a ring is a ring, but that's what I'm trying to say. I don't like seeing the same team represent the conference every single year.
Now it's Golden State. Now
It's
used to
not.
be the Lakers.
Yeah, no,
It's
they've
not.
been there
It's
the past.
Celtics next year.
They'll be there the past 4 years now. 4 years now. They've been there the past 3 years.
3 years. But I'm saying it used to be the Lakers.
Yeah.
And who else?
And the Celtics.
The Celtics.
But see, that was only a 3 year period. We're going on number 4 now because the
Cavs win.
because in 2012, or 2011, it was the Mavericks and the Heat. Two completely different teams.
Then the Heat and OKC.
Because the Lakers didn't even make it to the conference
Then
finals.
the Heat and the Spurs.
Yeah.
Now Golden State.
Was
it's gonna be Golden State and Cleveland.
2014 was Golden State.
No, 2014 was Spurs Cavs take 2.
Yeah,
or
okay.
Spurs Heat take 2.
Yeah. Gotcha.
And then 2015 we had the first one, which LeBron should have won that. Had Kyrie and Kevin Love not gotten hurt, he played without Kyrie Irving. He played without Kevin Love, and he still got 2 games by himself. That's
a fact. You can't deny that.
I didn't deny it.
Look, we don't talk about him anymore. And this is not a joke. Matthew Dellavedova shut down Steph Curry in those finals.
Well, he's dirty.
Shut him down. Yes, he is.
He's dirty. I mean, I like him. I mean, he's dirty.
Shut him down.
I mean, he did.
And let's not forget Timofey Mozgov in that series. I mean, he was a beast.
Oh yeah, he was.
I mean, they don't have him anymore because they thought they were going small ball, but now they don't have a center. Tristan Thompson's obsolete.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I mean, I just don't.
After he cheated.
That team, I just don't know what. I don't know what that team's doing. I don't know what the Cavs are going to do.
It's a tough situation.
But they're not winning the championship this year.
No, absolutely
no,
not.
Sir.
Maybe better luck next year if you can get the King to resign. But I mean, that's it.
Yeah, I mean, no sir.
It's something else. It's a tough situation. It's a tough situation in Cleveland.
It's definitely going to be interesting. I'm definitely excited to watch these conference finals this weekend.
Yeah,
coming up next week, we'll definitely be talking about it. Probably more information about the draft, get some mock drafts going.
Yeah, it's gonna be
definitely be looking into more players because I mean I haven't been paying attention to college basketball all that much. Semester's over though.
Oh yeah,
semester's over. Woo!
Yes, sir. Summer's here.
Yes,
Absolutely.
sir.
Absolutely.
It's gonna be a good time. These Eastern and Western Conference Final and the finals, and then the draft.
Yeah,
I can't wait.
Absolutely. Hey, we want to thank you, Abram, for stopping by, man.
Yes,
we really
sir.
appreciate you.
It.
I should be back if Ricardo and y'all.
Hey, absolutely, man. Absolutely. You're
we'll
welcome
be
anytime.
here.
Welcome anytime. Every week on Wednesdays. But that's going to do it for us here at GRCV Hoops. We hope you enjoyed today's episode.
And take care.
Yeah, go ahead and follow us on our social media. Don't forget to check us out on the Google Play Store as well as the iTunes Store. And we'll see you next.